Welcome to Fenway Park as the fans make their way in for Game 2 of the 4-game series between the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox. Welcome inside the broadcast with everybody. I'm Don Orsillo along with Jerry Remy. Welcome to Red Sox baseball. Well, last night the Red Sox set their ace to the mound, and he picked up the victory last night in John Lester. Tonight it's John Lackey, and Jerry's pitched very well lately for the Red Sox.
Well, he has been one of the most consistent starters for the Red Sox all season long. There's no question about that. And over the last 4 games, he has really been good for the Red Sox. The record of 2-1, a very impressive 1.53 ERA. In 29 in the third innings, only 28 hits allowed, only 4 walks to go along with 20 strikeouts and 4 extra base hits. Lackey has gone back-to-back games of 8 innings, and you see a couple of his strikeouts. He's had a very good curveball going for him. He's been able to have strikeouts at 94, 95 miles an hour, and then, of course, back to the breaking ball here for another strikeout. So Lackey has been one of those guys that's been around the plate. He hasn't been walking people, been getting strikeouts, working quickly. The defense is playing well behind him and pitching very well.
The Red Sox had very good pitching last night. They also got the bats alive, and right in the middle, as usual, was Big Papi.
Now let's see what they do with Big Papi with first base open.
Ortiz jolts it to center field. BOURN going back at the wall. That ball is gone. Wrong decision for the Cleveland Indians. They pitch to Ortiz, and he takes it out of the yard. Well, there have been some questions about some of the youngsters the Red Sox are sending out there on a daily basis this year. And from an offensive standpoint, there have been some questions about Jackie Bradley Jr. There is no question about his defensive ability. He has been outstanding. Go get it out there in center field. And last night made a very special play out towards left center field to grab this ball in the air in front of the wall, and then to have the presence of mind to turn and fire all the way back to first base, completing the double play. JBJ pretty special on that play, and he has been defensively all year. With more, here's Gary Streisky.
Yeah, Don, I have actually a little bit of beef with that play, and hopefully you do too, in terms of only being number 10 on a couple top 10 lists of best plays from last night, because it's still the talk of the town here at Fenway Park. A day later, the throw Jackie Bradley Jr. was able to make to double off and end the inning. It's just a play you don't really see that often from players in today's baseball game. Fortunately for the Red Sox, they have one of those players, as John Farrell explains in our Geico quote of the day.
Sure, I think we'd love to have guys that throw, or that profile a right field position with a well above average throwing arm that hit for power, can run. I mean, there's just fewer and fewer of those players available. So I can't say it's a training technique or training methods that have changed to reduce the arm strength overall. It's who's available in the game today.
So, of course, comparisons to Yoenis Cespedes with Oakland, drawing comparisons with Jackie Bradley Jr., who has the biggest arm. Our friend from WBZ, Johnny Miller, was the one that asked, hey, what happened to those big arms from 10, 15, 20, even 50 years ago? Fortunately, the Red Sox, they do have one of them on their roster. Happy 65th birthday to Johnny Miller.
All right, Gary, thanks very much. Well, they're taking the tarp off. We're ready for baseball. The first pitch from Fenway. Red Sox and Indians, they're coming your way next. Southwest Airlines. Toyota's website for deals by Toyota.com. Dunkin' Donuts. Your Mazda of New England dealers. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by New England Subaru dealers. Welcome back to misty Fenway Park as a light rain falls here at Fenway on what is a chilly, kind of windy, drizzly night here to begin the night. 64 degrees, a little warmer than I thought, perhaps. Light and variable at the moment. Forecast showers for the remainder of the evening. So I guess, Jerry, it's kind of play in these conditions and try to play through this situation tonight.
Yeah, it's not too bad right now. If it stays like this, it'll be just fine. If David Mellor was just talking to the home plate umpire, we have no idea about what, but the fact is they are going to start this game on time, and we'll go from there, Don. We've been in plenty of rain delays recently.
Certainly have. The Red Sox having quite a few on this last road trip and back home again. Last night was waiting for it to rain. It never really did, and the Red Sox were able to grab the victory in the first game of the series against the Tribe and trying to do the same. The fans are ready for what could be a raining evening here at Fenway Park with the umbrellas all the way throughout the park, and fans in a lot of the poncho gear here at Fenway as the breeze blowing here as well, and it's kind of a driving mist at the moment. And John Lackey gets the start tonight for Boston, making his 14th start of the year. And for the Red Sox, a very good start to the homestand last night, Jerry. Exactly what they needed.
Well, it's one of those complete games they put together with the pitching. They got some timely hitting. They got some good defense from Jackie Bradley Jr. They picked up a game in the standings. They're 8 games back right now as Toronto lost. So, at least for the start of the homestand, it was encouraging to see, pitch well, hit well, defend well, pick up a win, pick up a game.
The Cleveland Indians, with their loss here last night, fall 3.5 games back of the Tigers in the Central. As the Red Sox take the field tonight in their alternate red jerseys on this Friday night, let's check out the visiting Cleveland Indians starting 9. Michael BOURN is in center field leading it off with ASDRUBAL CABRERA at shortstop batting second. Michael Brantley in left field in the 3 spot with Jason KIPNIS at second base in the cleanup spot. LONNIE CHISENHALL just had a 3-home run, 9 RBI game this last week. He is at third base with David Murphy, the former first-round draft choice for the Red Sox, in right field. GOMES does the catching, batting 7th with Carlos Santana back at first base, and Ryan Rayburn is the designated hitter. He bats 9th. Tonight's Red Sox starting pitcher is presented by New England Audi dealers. Experience the all-new 2015 Audi A3 today. And on the mound for the Red Sox, the tall right-hander John Lackey, making his 14th start of the year. 7-4 with a 3.18 earned run average, 76 strikeouts to 17 walks, and opponents hitting at .264 against Lackey. In his last start against the Cleveland Indians, he did take the loss, but went 8 innings, giving up only 3 runs, walked 2, struck out 3.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. They are now 8th in the American League with 38 errors on the season. Xander Bogaerts back at third base. Jonathan Herrera, the shortstop. Dustin Pedroia at second. Mike Napoli, the first baseman. Left to right, Brock Holt, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Daniel Nava. And A.J. Przinsky doing the catching for John Lackey.
Well, the umpiring crew tonight, Tom Hallion has the plate calling the balls and strikes. He is the crew chief with Sean Barber at first base, Chris Guccione at second base, and Eric Cooper is the umpire at third. Well, fans, you can test your Red Sox IQ right now with the MLB Preplay mobile app. Download for free and start predicting every at-bat of every Red Sox game all season. Tonight, Preplay predicts John Lackey will go 7 1/3 innings, allowing 2 earned runs, 7 hits, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. You know, rain intensifying here a little bit. It's moved into the light rain area from a mist here at the moment. As Lackey continues to warm up, and we'll see if it intensifies here as we move along in this top half of the first inning. Michael BOURN ready to lead it off here for the Indians in their road gray uniforms tonight. BOURN had 278, 2 homers, and 16 runs batted in. Spent some time on the DL to begin the year out of spring training with an injured left hamstring. Certainly important for the speedster. And Michael BOURN activated first week of the season. And here's the first pitch of the ball game from John Lackey, and that's in there for strike 1.
Now, we mentioned over the last couple of starts, Lackey has been very consistent, going 8 innings in both of those starts. That fastball consistently around 93, 94 miles an hour.
Well, that last outing against the Indians was an 8-inning complete game. Of course, he did take the loss in that game, but another pretty good outing for him in what has really been 3 very good outings in a row. Atlanta, at Cleveland, and then last time out against Detroit, in which he went 8 innings, giving up 3 runs, only 2 earned runs against that good Tigers deep lineup. And it had been the second straight start of 8 innings. Swing and a miss, and a good start to this outing for John Lackey. Strikes out Michael BOURN.
Goes to the breaking ball. Will pick up the strikeout. First batter he's faced. You know, BOURN for a leadoff guy, unusual numbers. He has walked 14 times, but struck out 52 now on the season.
One down as ASDRUBAL CABRERA coming up. 251, 6 homers, and 23 runs batted in for the shortstop. And at the lip of the grass at third, Xander Bogaerts back in the Red Sox lineup tonight. Lined and caught by Dustin Pedroia. A step and a lunge, and Dustin pulls it in. Great grab for the second out.
Well, we get so used to seeing it from Pedroia make play after play, and you can see he's kind of leaning toward his left and has to go back to his right, make the dive, make the catch, roll over a couple of times, and secure the baseball.
Now 2 down here in the first inning, and congratulations to Dustin Pedroia as well and his wife Kelly the birth of their third son today, Brooks, this morning in Boston. And congratulations to Dustin and Kelly again. There is Michael Brantley, bats with 2 outs and looks at ball 1. We don't get to see a lot of Michael Brantley, Jerry, but in the short time we've seen him in these 2 series, he's a guy that I think you appreciate more if you see him play every day. He's a good ball player right here.
Yeah, it really is, and I think he's improved an awful lot too.
He promptly lines it into center field, a 2-out base hit, first base runner of the night for the Cleveland Indians.
That's now a 5-game hitting streak for Brantley. He has 9 for his last 15. And from a couple of years ago, I mean, this guy's really come into his own. And he's just a complete player. High best for average. He's got some power, can run, and plays a good outfield.
So 2 down, Brantley at first, and Jason Kipnis coming up. It's a 257, 3 homers, and 21 runs driven in. Kipnis 2 for 4 here last night with 2 RBIs. Got the Indians closer in last night's ball game as they were just a run shy of the Red Sox at one point of the game, 3-2. On the ground, softly hit to Pedroia. On to first for the out that ends the top of the first inning. Red Sox are coming up from rainy Fenway. In the top of the first inning, the Red Sox lineup looks like this tonight, with Brock Holt back at the top of the order for Boston, and Holt back in the outfield with Bogaerts back at third base batting second. Dustin Pedroia in the 3 spot, 54 games, a .319 average against the Indians. David Ortiz, the DH. Mike Napoli at first base with Daniel Nave in right field. A.J. Brzezinski's got very good numbers against Justin Masterson. He bats 7th. Jonathan Herrera at shortstop 8th, and Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field batting 9th. So standing in here is Brock Holt. We have a chance to play the wall here at Fenway Park as he takes pitch outside for ball 1. And tonight's Indian starting pitcher presented to you by your New England Nissan dealers. Masterson's 15th start, 4-4 with a 4.61 earned run average. And he's really made 3 pretty good starts in a row, and that includes one of them against the Red Sox June the 2nd. 7 innings of shutout pitching, striking out 10 Red Sox along the way. Joe, curious to get your take on whether it is an advantage or a disadvantage for a hitter to get to look at a pitcher for a second time in a relatively short period of time, or does it matter just what kind of stuff he's got that night?
I think it's just what he's got that night. And that night we saw him in Cleveland. He had a very good fastball going for him, but better one than he's had in games previous. And they said that was the big difference against the Red Sox. Now we'll see what he brings to the table here tonight. One thing's for certain, you like to load left-handers up against Masterson. Lefties have hit 293. Righties have only hit 219.
Holt will take the strike, full count. Great numbers for Brock Holt so far this season. And because the tarp was on the field here at Fenway Park, nobody took batting practice. And this is on the ground, chopped to first. Santana's got it. He'll take himself to the bag for the out. For the first out here in the bottom of the first inning.
Now let's go look at the Cleveland defense. They are last in the American League with 63 errors in 67 games. Lonnie Chisenhall will be at third base as CABRERA, the shortstop, Jason Kipnis at second, and Carlos Santana, the first baseman. Left to right, Michael Brantley, Michael BOURN, and David Murphy, and Yan Gomes doing the catching for Masterson.
And one down here in the first inning, and it brings up Xander Bogaerts.
That's a lot of data right there, right?
A lot of information for Brad Mills to peruse over there. I'm guessing Brad Mills does the large amount of perusing of that information.
Well, you know, Tito doesn't do it.
That's my point. And he's nowhere near that information. He is much further away. This one fouled off.
I actually had a very nice visit with Terry Francona this afternoon for about a half hour, and it was great to talk about old times, and very happy in the position he is in right now.
Didn't mess up your hair or attack you or anything?
No, he doesn't do that to me.
No,
just
okay,
you.
Okay.
He wanted you to come down.
Bogaerts will take ball 2, 2-1. Xander getting the night off last night. Been struggling a little bit at the plate, and a chance to kind of clear his mind. And hits a 278 overall, 5 homers. He had 17 runs batted in. He had gone 0 for 12 in the series against the Orioles before the Red Sox opened up the homestand here last night. Fouls it off himself. Have you ever dreamed of being part of a pregame ceremony at Fenway? This is your chance. Bring a group of 100 or more to a Sox game, and you'll be honored on the field during our Leader of the Pack ceremony. Go to redsox.com/groups for more details. Great numbers against the Indians in the series in Cleveland for Bogaerts. As PEDROIA waits on deck. 2-2. Look out. Had to straighten him up, and that's one thing about Masterson. It seems like all of his pitches kind of run, especially that fastball.
Yeah, that fastball runs in on right-handers and runs back over the plate against left-handers to throw the slider. Very few change-ups.
On the ground, well positioned is KIPNIS. He was swung over towards second. The throw off the mark, but he applies the tag to Carlos Santana on Bogaerts on the way by for the second out.
Well, that's the danger right there of playing on a wet field, and the wet field is wet right now because of the rain and mist. You pick up a baseball on the ground like that, and it's wet, and sometimes it slips out of your hand. A very routine play, but all of a sudden doesn't become routine because the baseball's wet.
Dustin Pedroia hitting at 267 on the year. 3 homers and 21 runs batted in. Chops it down the third baseline, foul. Well, help NESN by taking a quick 2-minute survey and enter for a chance to win a VIP NESN experience at the ballpark in July. Visit NESN.com/survey during tonight's game for your chance to win. 2 down here in the bottom of the first inning. And a grounder back to Masterson, able to field and throw at the base of the hill. And the Red Sox are down in order in the first. We'll check out the arms race in our silent poll when we come back.
question, which throw was more impressive? How about Yoenis Cespedes throwing out Kendrick at the plate for Sox 1? The very next night, Sox 2 for Cespedes throwing out Albert Pujols at third. See you bye. Or how about last night, Sox 3, Jackie Bradley Jr. with the catch. Then completes it with the double off at first. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates, those may apply. Text help if you need it. Visit NESN.com/terms for all that fun legal stuff, guys.
Good, Jerry. I'm going to go with Cespedes on this one just because of the arm. But I will point this out. Cespedes misplayed both of those balls.
He did. He did.
And Jackie Bradley did not. He made a very good running catch to get there in the first place.
But
so I'm torn.
If we're talking just about the throw itself, the Cespedes throw to throw out Kendrick was unbelievable.
And that is what the Scion poll is tonight. Which throw was the best? And that is the question. But you have to take into account that he misplayed.
But you're right. He did misplay both balls.
Well, no doubt about it. Jackie Bradley Jr. can go get it out there in center field, and he has been fun to watch this year defensively. As we play on here to the second inning, Lonnie Chisenhall, David Murphy, and Yan Gomes expected to bat in the inning. Chisenhall, that amazing game last week, 3 homers, 9 RBIs. Grounds it foul. Did not play in last night's game. Back in there again tonight and at third base. Fourth player in Major League history with 5 homers, 3 home runs, and at least 9 RBIs in a game as he grounds one to Pedroia at second base. 1 down. One away for David Murphy coming up. We had the chance yesterday to say hello to David Murphy. Great guy when he was here as a member of the Red Sox, coming up through the Red Sox system. Traded away to the Texas Rangers in the Eric Gagne deal back in 2007. On to have a very good career with the Texas Rangers, and now first year with the Cleveland Indians. First round, 17th pick in 2003. He made his major league debut in 2006 for Boston. That will be a strike, and it's now 2-1.
He's got great numbers against Lackey, 455 in his career against John Lackey with quite a few at bats.
Fouls it back, 93 on the fastball from Lackey, 2-2. Murphy was a member of the Rangers from 2007 through 2013. Yan Gomes waits on deck for the Indians here in the second inning. Full count. Fly ball, foul off to the left, out of play. Well, enjoy the rich taste of Farmhouse Blend coffee from Cumberland Farms. It's made from 100% Arabica coffee for the perfect balance of aroma, body, and taste. Stop in today for a cup of do-it-yourself coffee perfection for only 99 cents, any size. Late defensive swing there by Murphy, protecting the plate, fouling it off to the left.
Well, you see the pattern here, too, by Lackey. Everything away except one pitch in this at-bat from David Murphy.
Pitch 9 of this battle. And another swing there by Murphy. We've seen some unorthodox swings here from him.
Yeah, he fouled off a pretty good curveball that time from Lackey. Ball busting down and in, and somehow Murphy makes contact.
On the ground up the middle and into center field. Murphy wins the battle. It's the second hit for the Indians of the night as we send it down to Gary Streisky.
Well, guys, obviously still raining and misting down here on the field. The grounds crew had the tarp on it just a little bit before the game, but still clumping up a little bit with the mud. So to avoid the mud clumping onto the cleats, guys, some of the players, the infielders, sprayed Pam cooking spray on their cleats. Apparently it's to avoid that dirt clumping onto their cleats. Some of them said they don't necessarily know if it actually works, but I was in the dugout a couple minutes ago, and if anything else, it smells good, like buttermilk pancakes.
That's an interesting theory. I've not heard that one before. That's a first, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No? Yan Gomes bats with 1 out, 1 on, and he'll look at strike 1. Rocky glad to have somebody else in there than David Murphy. After the base hit, he just kind of looked over at him like, what do I got to do to get you out?
Yeah, exactly. He just stares at him like, you know, I throw you everything, you foul it off, and then you finally get a base hit. I just can't get you out.
Fly ball down the right field line. This will make its way foul.
I'm in a tweener tonight. I don't know whether to take the jacket off, leave it on. I've had it off. I've had it on.
I think I'm having it on. I'm cold.
I mean,
when I read that it was only 64 degrees, I was surprised because I feel like it's a raw.
Yeah, it's a raw 63.
Lackey working in the short sleeves tonight, ready with an 0-2 pitch. Trying to frame that was Pierzynski, but it was outside.
Good pitch by Lockey, though. Gave Yan Gomes something to think about with 2 strikes on him. Very tempting right there, just missing the outside corner.
Strike 3 call.
Yan Gomes is probably saying, wait a minute. First time it's a ball. Next time it's a strike. Well, what's it going to be? Because it's basically in the same spot. He goes back outside corner. You can see it just underneath the 3. This time it's a strike, and here's Gomes' reaction. You kidding me?
I got to tell you, Jerry, I don't know Tom Hallion personally, but I really enjoy his 3rd strike call. The home plate umpire. I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I know guys are known for different things as umpires, and some guys you don't even notice, but Tom Hallion's strike 3 call is as good as it gets. He does like a full spin thing. Look at this. Outstanding. Yeah. Look at that.
You wouldn't like it if you were hitting, I can tell you that.
I would really be upset, actually, if I was hitting. That would annoy me, I think.
It's amazing he doesn't throw his back out. He must have incredible obliques.
He's very flexible. 2 down here as Carlos Santana stands in. Jumps back out of the way of a pitch inside. 175 the average so far for Santana, but fairly good power numbers. 7 homers, 22 runs batted in. Former catcher. Playing at first base for the 2nd straight night here tonight for the Indians. And he drives it to deep right field. Daniel Nava going back at the wall, and that is gone. Home run number 8 of the year for Carlos Santana puts the Indians on top of the Red Sox 2-0. Have a line drive home run out of Fenway to right.
That's a breaking ball this time from Lockey, and Santana is all over it. And as you mentioned, on 8 home runs for Santana on the season. And there's pretty much no doubt about this one. Pretty on the line and over the bullpen for the Cleveland Indians.
So the Indians jumping out to the 2-0 advantage, and Ryan Rayburn the batter. The DH jumping back out of the way. Called the ball. Looked like a pretty good pitch. Former Tiger hitting at 211 with a home run. 14 runs batted in. Well, Steve Lyons goes one-on-one with Johnny Gomes. Leah Hextall tracks down the hottest prospect in the Red Sox farm system, and Mookie Betts. And author Ian Brown talks about his book, Idiots Revisited. That's all this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Ultimate Red Sox Show, presented by AAA. Rayburn to left on a line, and this is quickly getting down. Holt cuts it off back on the warning track, and he'll hold Rayburn to a long single to left field. That's the third hit of the second inning for the Indians.
The at bat that Murphy had, you think back at that at bat in the second inning and how many pitches Lackey had to throw to him. Well, what follows the base hit was a strikeout, but then a home run, and now a base hit on a breaking ball. There's Brock Holt cutting the ball off, getting it back into second base, but Rayburn now with a 4-game hitting streak. Tonight the DH hitting out of the 9 spot in the batting order.
Bourne batting for the second time tonight. He fouls that off. A.J. Pierzynski. Bourne one of 2 strikeouts in the early going here for John Lackey. Operating in the top of the second inning. Fouled off the shoe tops, and that hurt. Bourne hobbling around. May have been a little higher than the shoe tops. Ball 2 strikes to Bourne, 2 outs in the inning. And a foul back, still 1-2.
Kind of figured too, Lockheed come right back inside. You foul one off your foot, and you come right back inside another pitch in that area.
Bourne late in the cut, strikes out for the second time. But a 2-run home run for Carlos Santana has given the Indians a 2-0 advantage. We'll get you a new view when we come back to Fenway. My first game, June 24th, 1978. You were playing in that game, but I found the ticket and realized where I was sitting, section 20, and these were the seats right here.
You remember the seats you were in?
Well, I had to look at the ticket to figure out where it was, because I knew where I was sort of behind home plate, but I wasn't exactly sure what row, and then I found that, checked it out. So that was my view today. I visited the first seat that I had the chance to go to.
Now that's an interesting view from the booth, and you saw me not get a hit that day.
I believe you were 0 for 4, and you might have made an error.
Really? What a surprise.
I'm sure you were thrilled to be around that night afterwards at dinner.
Glad you were there to see it.
Yeah, it was Louis Tiant against Scott McGregor. One of those great Red Sox-Oriole battles in the late 70s. The Orioles had I don't have to tell you, but great pitching.
Yeah, sure did.
Flanagan, and McGregor, and Palmer. Pitch is in there for a strike, and it's 2-1. It could have been much fun in those series.
No, not for me. It was not much fun. Didn't bother guys like Rice and Yaz and stuff like that, but I didn't have a good time.
Ortiz will take the strike, and it's 2-2. His home run last night gave the Red Sox a 3-0 advantage. And Sales outside for ball 3.
If you watch a video shown on NESN, text the keyword Jerry to 536-536 and get the link NESN.com/on-TV to get started.
Ortiz lines this down the right field line, foul. Out ahead, and he pulls it.
Had some good videos recently too, so 536-536 keyword Jerry.
Down and in, ball 4. David Ortiz down to first base. First base runner of the night for the Red Sox. Well, tonight's Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. David Ortiz and Albert Pujols are the only two players with 15 home runs in each of the last 14 seasons. And of course, David getting his last night. On board with a walk to begin things here in the bottom of the second inning, and it brings up Mike Napoli. Napoli at 267, 6 homers and 24 runs batted in.
Come up here, guys.
For a strike, evens the count at 1-1.
Yeah, that fastball last time Masterson had against the Red Sox in Cleveland would register anywhere from like 87 to 92, 93. That last one was a 88-mile-an-hour fastball.
Berkshire Bank, America's most exciting bank. Visit BerkshireBank.com or one of our locations in New England, New York, to discover how big bank resources combined with small bank attention can help you find your exciting moments. Life is exciting. Let Berkshire Bank help. Fouling it off twice. Looked like there was Napoli.
Yeah, this is one of the few sliders that Masterson has featured so far in this game tonight. Napoli, pretty good job fouling it off. And slings that ball up the home plate. Tough on the righties.
Last 5 games. Look at the numbers for Napoli. Coming off the disabled list and joining the Red Sox in Detroit. One, two, a little bit low. He was not part of the series against the Indians in Cleveland. Still on the DL at that time. Activated on Sunday of the series against the Tigers. Masterson yanking it low and away. Full count. Ball 4, and Masterson allows back-to-back walks.
Now, that has been a problem for him this season, the walks. He came into the game tonight with 39, so he's already got 2. That makes 41, if my math is correct, on the season. It is correct, 41.
Math was pretty good. Yeah, 41.
I can add by 2.
2 on, nobody out. Daniel Nava coming up here for the Red Sox. 192, but that average is climbing. 2 homers and 3 runs batted in. 3 for 4 in the ball game here last night. He's always did well against the Indians. A .442 batting average against Cleveland. Look at the last 5 games for Nava. Runs outside for ball 2, and this will bring a visit from Yan Gomes. Masterson walking back-to-back batters, now falling behind the next one, 2-0. Well, lung cancer is the #1 cancer killer of women. Donate to the American Lung Association at any CVS Pharmacy location now through June the 29th. CVS Pharmacy is the official pharmacy of the Boston Red Sox. Two on, nobody out, and Nava with a count of 2-0. That's a strike, 2-1. Masterson bouncing back with back-to-back strikes, 2-2. So 50% strikes right now. 34 pitches, 17 strikes. Nava 3 for 6 in his career against Masterson. Red Sox trying to answer a 2-run top half of the second inning for Cleveland. Full count now. They don't have a lot of speed on the bases, but would you consider starting him?
I would not. So they probably will go, but I would not with Ortiz at second base. Third base, the throw to third base wide open.
Line down the right field line, foul.
Talking to Lonnie Chisenhall, the third baseman, he had that big, huge night, just a couple of nights ago for the Cleveland Indians, and you want to be around hot guys like that, have some of that rub off on you.
Payoff pitch again. On the ground, up the middle. KIPNIS can't get it. It's into center field. Big Papi being waved around. BOURN is up and throwing. The throw to the plate's going to be close, and Ortiz will be out. Looked up, and David was just at third base when BOURN got that ball, and BOURN from center field throws out Ortiz at the plate. For the first down, that's not what you want to do with nobody out.
Exactly right, Don. With 1 out, you might take the chance. With 2 outs, you might take the chance. But with nobody out, BOURN came in, put a very good charge on that ball. You could see Ortiz rounding third base, but that throw's got to beat him by quite a bit. He tries to slide around the sweep tag, but nothing doing there for Big Papi. So the Red Sox have a runner cut down at home plate with nobody out.
So 2 on, 1 away. A.J. Pierzynski coming up. A.J. at 279, 4 homers and 27 runs batted in. In there for strike 1. Leading hitter with runners in scoring position at 327 is A.J. Pierzynski. You had Napoli at second. You had Nav at first and 1 out in the Boston second inning. Driven to the gap in right center field. This will get down. Head into the triangle, and they're going to run a while. Napoli will score. Nava will score. And Pierzynski stops at second with a 2-run double, and the Red Sox have tied the score 2-2. A.J. Pierzynski getting it done.
And he continues to swing the bat very well against Masterson. 368 coming into the game, and he finds the gap. Now, for most guys, this would have been a triple. For A.J., 2 bases and stay there. Drives in 2 runs, gives him 29 RBIs on the season, and the Red Sox tie it at 2. That's usually 3-base territory out there at 420, but not for A.J.
Unfortunately for the Red Sox, it highlights the throwout at the plate, too. They could have scored 3 runs. Tied 2-2. Jonathan Herrera now standing in. Herrera been getting a lot of time lately with the uncertainty right now for Stephen Drew. 246, no homers, 7 runs batted in. To shortstop, Cabrera on the run, and in time for the second out of the inning as Pierzynski advanced to third base. So if nothing else, Herrera gets a runner to third with now 2 down for Jackie Bradley Jr. coming up. Bradley at 203 with a home run and 21 runs batted in. Outside for ball 1. One for 3 in the ball game last night with a walk. He scored twice in the game last night. Now lifts a foul fly off to the left and back into the seats. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
It's one of the few times you really see Masterson on purpose elevate a fastball. And he did that time to Jackie Bradley Jr.
Drive out to right field for Jackie Bradley Jr. Murphy going back at the wall. Can't catch it. It is off the wall, and Bradley's headed for third base. He will get there sliding. Pierzynski scores, and the Red Sox take a 3-2 lead. Almost get out of here to right field.
Now, we talked about left-handers doing damage against Masterson. In this inning, it's been Nava, the left-hander, Pierzynski, the left-hander, and now Bradley just missing a home run. Actually hesitated before he head for third base. He made it no problem.
That is the 6th triple that Masterson has allowed. That leads the American League. And Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach, coming out there to talk to Masterson. There's action now for the Indians. They're about to have Kyle Crockett warm up. He has not yet thrown a pitch, but limbering up in the pen. A much different outing so far for Masterson tonight than when we saw him in Cleveland.
Yeah, and Crockett just called up today by the Cleveland Indians, getting loose. But you're right, a little bit different than what we saw in the beginning of the game in Cleveland, that's for sure.
Well, tomorrow on Dining Playbook, Billy Costa and Jenny Johnson come to you from Steffi's on Tremont. Xander Bogaerts will tell us his favorite burrito spot in Boston. And John Lackey explains his pregame meal, which includes a classic sandwich. Catch all that and more on Dining Playbook tomorrow at 9 a.m. It's been a good inning for Boston. 3 runs here in the second inning. Now Brock Holt jumps back out of the way of a pitch that just missed. Holt grounded out to begin the bottom of the first inning. Now bats here in the second. One hopper out to second base. Kipnis plays the high hop and throws out Holt to end the inning. But a 3-run inning for the Red Sox, who now lead at 3-2. He is brought to you by Ace Ticket, the official ticket partner of the Boston Red Sox. (3-2). Red Sox have the lead over the Cleveland Indians here in the top half of the third inning. So the runs coming in the second inning. First 2 runs in the top of the Indians, then 3 in the bottom of the second inning off Justin Masterson. ASDRUBAL Cabrera getting it started here for the Tribe in the third inning. Cabrera, Brantley, and Kipnis. Driven to left, and well, back goes Holt, and he'll pull back and play it off the scoreboard. Holt quickly getting it towards second base and in with a leadoff wall ball double is ASDRUBAL CABRERA to begin things here in the third.
Now Cabrera taking advantage of that left field wall, gets a fastball down and away, and that slight uppercut swing to get it to left field. Pretty well played out there by Brock Holt. Gets it back into second base, but not in time to get Cabrera, who has the leadoff double and in scoring position with nobody out.
Brantley batting here. He's got a base hit tonight off Lackey. Singled in the first inning. People now at 5 hits off Lackey in 2+ innings. 9 for his last 15. On the ground down the first baseline, a foul ball. Napoli over there just in case, but ruled foul. Earlier this year, Brantley had a 15-game hitting streak, May 14th through the 31st. Comes in hitting at .313 into tonight's game. Swings at the 0-2 and sends it toward the gap in left center field. This will get down. Around from second base comes Cabrera. Throw goes to second and safe there with an RBI double. Here's Michael Brantley that ties this game at 3.
A very nice hitting there by Brantley as he goes to the gap in left center field. Takes the breaking ball from Lockheed, does not try to pull it. Finds that gap between Jackie Bradley Jr. and Brock Holt, and that quickly the Indians back to tie the ball game. So 2 for 2 on the night for Brantley. 10 for his last 16.
Over the last 4 games, Lackey allowing 4 extra base hits. He's already given up 3 in this outing in 2+ innings. Now having to deal with Jason Kipnis with a runner at second, a run in, and nobody out in this Indians 3rd inning. And there for a strike, 1-1. 229 with runners in scoring position, but much better lately for Kipnis. Gets jammed and lifts it down the left field line. It'll fall foul and into the seats. The Liverpool Football Club returns to Fenway Park to face AS Roma on Wednesday, July 23rd. The match will feature 2 of the most prominent clubs in European football, setting the stage for an exciting rematch at Fenway Park. Tickets are on sale now. Go to redsox.com/football at Fenway to get your tickets for this great match today. Outside for ball 2, 2-2. Great vantage point. May want to go panoramic with that. There is strike 3. Kipnis down by way of the K. Lackey needed that. It's his 4th strikeout.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough location right there for Lackey, right on an outside corner, and really not much at all Kipnis could do with this. If you're going to swing on it, you kind of hope to just foul it off, but he takes it, and it is on the corner. Didn't like the call, but has to head back to the dugout. Perfect pitch by Lackey.
One down here in the 3rd inning. Lonnie Chisenhall, the batter, and grounded out to second base in the 2nd inning. Let's take a look at our Chevy key player coming into tonight, Lonnie Chisenhall. On a 9-game hitting streak. During that time, he's hit at .514. 4 home runs and 16 RBIs. Frame by Brzezinski just missed. Mentioned his 3 home run performance. It was on Monday against the Texas Rangers. 1, 2, and 3 home runs. 9 RBIs. Some kind of night. Elevates. 92 on the fastball. Chisenhall chasing. David Murphy waiting on deck. Indians batting here in the 3rd inning. Gary, was pretty impressive to see Chisenhall do all of that on Monday.
Yeah, 3 home runs, of course, helping his career average against left-handed hitters coming into the streak. He was a sub-200, but during the 9-game streak, his average nearly 500. We were talking to Tito about why Chisenhall was held out of the lineup, and it was just that, because Lester was on the mound. But Chisenhall, of course, looking for 10 straight games, and he's also riding a 5-game multi-hit streak, but nothing happening there.
And he strikes out this time. It's 5 Ks for Lackey on a pitch in the dirt, and a good pitch.
Yeah, Lackey showing his changeup that time to Chisenhall and gets him to swing at a bad pitch, a pitch that actually bounces. But Lackey not throwing, that may be the first changeup he's featured in the game tonight, and it's very effective to get the strikeout.
Now 2 down, Brantley at second base, and David Murphy. Tough guy for Lackey to face, and Murphy got the better of him in the 2nd inning. Singling to center field, coming around to score the game's first run. And he jumps on that first pitch, fouls it back. Back up again, the lefty Kyle Crockett. He was up last inning and continuing to warm now in the pen. One to Murphy. Outside for ball 2. There's strike 2. John Lackey in his career against the Indians under 500 individually. It's 7 and 8. 3.93 earned run average here at Fenway. 1-1 with an ERA over 5 against Cleveland teams. Time called. He'll follow through with the pitch. Might as well. Very late time call there for Tom Hallion.
And Lackey's going to hate that because he made the pitch he wanted, a fastball right on the outside corner.
Chopped right side. Pedroia on the high hop will fire to first for the out that ends the inning. The Indians get a run, tie the game at 3 aside. And a drizzly night here at Fenway, but they're still having a good time on the Wally Wave out there in the monster seats here at Fenway. Interesting interpretation of the Wally Wave, that last one. There's generally a hug involved too at the end. Xander Bogaerts leading it off in the bottom of the third inning. He'll take a pitch outside. Bogaerts grounded out to Jason Kipnis at second base, 0 for 1. Masterson falling behind 3-1. They have Crockett ready to go in case they need him, and you get the feeling a pretty short leash here. Rest of the way out for Terry Francona on Masterson, who he sends back out there for the third, but falling behind. And he walks the first batter here in the third inning. Walks a problem again tonight. Tonight's twisted but true fact of the game is Justin Masterson's immaculate inning versus Boston on June 2nd. First ever by an Indians pitcher in just the 74th time in Major League history. Struck out Gomes, Sizemore, and Drew on 9 pitches in the 4th inning. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea is the refreshing hard iced tea. Tastes like real iced tea. Be a little twisted. Runner at first in Bogaerts to lead off the bottom of the third. And Pedroia getting his face out of the way.
Yeah, Masterson really all over the place tonight in this game. The control not there, not nearly what it was the last time he faced the Red Sox. And that's the reason you see Crockett loosening up in that bullpen. I don't think Masterson, another base runner, he might be out of the ballgame. You can see he's aiming the ball right now too. He's just not. There's no flow to it right now. Aiming that ball, trying to hit the outside corner.
Not close again. 3-0. Red Sox hitters waiting for a strike at this point. Pedroia doesn't get one. Back-to-back walks down to first base. He goes. We'll see if Francona's ready to make the move. He walked the first 2 in the second. Now he walks the first 2 here in the third. And here comes Tito now. So David Ortiz coming up. And Francona will make the move. Masterson done after 2+ innings. Game tied 3-3 from Fenway. Let's take a look at the pitching line for Justin Masterson, brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. Just 2+ innings, 3 hits so far, 3 runs. He's responsible for the 2 men on. He walks 4, 2 in the second inning, 2 in the third inning. And through 59 total pitches, he makes a long walk down the runway to the clubhouse. It's called to the bullpen, brought to you by your local New England Ford dealers. Kyle Crockett into the game, just up from AAA Columbus for the Cleveland Indians. Originally got compiled from AA, or promoted from AA Akron to the majors, making his major league debut on May the 16th against Oakland. Back here again, though, for the Indians. Now he's got to deal with David Ortiz, and he gets strike 1 over. Crockett was a 4th-round pick in the 2013 draft out of the University of Virginia, and here he is, making his major league debut this year. Outside, 1-1. See some first-rounders get up there quick, but a 4th-rounder is here. Went through the system very quickly. And in a jam here in the 3rd inning. Outside for ball 2.
Well, Red Sox took advantage of walks back in the 2nd inning, hoping to do the same thing here in the 3rd.
That started with a walk to David Ortiz in the 2nd inning. High fly ball to left field. Michael Brantley heading over. Still carrying, and he'll make the catch on the warning track and in fair ground for the first out of the 3rd inning. Long run for Brantley, but he gets there.
Yeah, certainly playing Ortiz to pull, as you can see, and a long way to go on a wet surface. And Brantley able to gauge himself, make that catch before he gets to the wall, which creeps up on you very quickly when you get into foul territory.
One out, 2 on, and Mike Napoli, the batter. Takes strike 1. Napoli walked and scored in the 2nd inning. Red Sox scored 3 times in the 2nd. Crockett spiraling off the backside, no throw. Crockett is the first member of the 2013 draft class to reach the major leagues. Line to right, down towards the corner, and this will get in. Bang around down there is from second base. BOGAERTS will score. PEDROIA trying to score all the way from first. He will as well. And the Red Sox take a 5-3 lead. Mike Napoli drives in a pair. The walks are really costly for Masterson and the Indians.
I love what Napoli's doing right there. That's an off-speed pitch, a changeup. And, you know, most of the time, guys with power hitters will be out in front of that pitch, pull it. Napoli was able to stay back and drive it the other way. Drive it hard past David Murphy. Drive in 2 runs. And we've seen that kind of swing a lot of times with 2 strikes on Napoli. That time we see it with 1 strike on him. 2 RBIs gives him 26 total on the season now.
Runs are charged to Masterson, who is charged with 5 runs in 3+ innings. Now Daniel Nava. He'll ground one left side. Cabrera on the backhand's got it. Low throw, but it's dug out by Santana for the 2nd out. No advance for Napoli at second base. Well, hey, Red Sox fans, looking for a unique Father's Day gift to promote the Red Sox Foundation's World Series ring raffle? Ace Ticket is giving fans the opportunity to take a picture with World Series trophies and rings. Visit the Kenmore Square store this Sunday at 534 Commonwealth Avenue from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. World Series ring raffle tickets can be purchased at the event or in advance by visiting redsox.com/ring raffle. 2 down, Napoli at second base. A.J. Pierzynski, the batter. A.J. knocked in 2 runs with his double in the second inning. Lines it foul. It was the double in the second inning. It knocked in the first 2 runs of the game for Boston. This would score Napoli and Nava. He sent it into the triangle, but a double for A.J. Pierzynski, and RBI is 28-29 on the year. Book now closed on Masterson as he looks on in disbelief. On the ground, shortstop Cabrera right around the bag at second. Will throw out Pierzynski. Red Sox get 2 runs and take a 5-3 lead at the end of 3. From technologies that make your life easier to people who care about your community, Eastern Bank is committed to putting you first. Learn all the ways Eastern Bank puts you first at easternbank.com. Now Mike Napoli driving in the go-ahead runs for the Red Sox. The Red Sox had just seen the Indians tie the game back up again. And now Boston on top 5-3. Help NESN by taking a quick 2-minute survey and enter for a chance to win a VIP NESN experience at the ballpark in July. Visit NESN.com/survey during tonight's game for your chance to win. Yan Gomes coming up here for the Indians to lead it off against John Lackey. Lackey did give up 2 runs in the second, a run in the third. Yan Gomes, a strikeout victim in the second inning. He went looking. Lackey with 5 strikeouts in his outing so far tonight.
Well, the mist had stopped at Fenway, but it's picking up again right now. Not very hard at all, but enough to make things a little bit uncomfortable.
Chop foul just above the Indians dugout, back into the seats. So bottom third of the Indians order here. Gomes, Santana, Rayburn scheduled to bat. On the ground left side, it'll be cut off by Bogaerts. Throw off the mark, but Napoli comes off the bag to retrieve it and apply the tag. I want to remind you to vote for the Amica Pitcher of the Week at NESN.com/Amica and enter to win a $100 gift card from NESN to the Yawkey Way team store.
Well, once again, we see another ground ball that the throw kind of slips out of the hand a little bit, pulls the first baseman off the bag. By that time, Napoli able to make the catch and apply the tag and get the first out of the inning.
One down for Carlos Santana.
Last ground ball is Xander Bogaerts, of course, picking up some moisture on that wet infield grass and throw a little bit off target, but in time.
Well, Lackey falling behind 3-0. Ryan Rayburn batting out of the number 9 spot on deck here for the Indians. For Carlos Santana, his 8th home run of the year. This was off Lackey in the second inning, and at the time gave the Tribe a 2-0 advantage. That's a strike. 3-2. To right field, Nava was deep. He comes in and makes the catch for the second out. 2 down.
Second time Santana's hit the ball hard, but that time the line drive pretty much at Daniel Nava. Has to come in and over a couple of steps to make the play.
So with 2 outs, Ryan Rayburn coming up. 5 in a row, retired by Lackey. Ryan Rayburn from Tampa, Florida, 32 years old. Entire career spent in the Tigers organization prior to last year. The 272 last year for the Indians. H.B. Hood salutes future Red Sox Hall of Famer Tim Wakefield. Since retiring from his outstanding career, Tim has become honorary chairman of the Red Sox Foundation, which runs the Red Sox Scholars and the Home Base Program, as well as help fight children's cancer at the Jimmy Fund. Congratulations, Wake. You are always all heart.
Well, it's Tim Wakefield tonight on our pregame and postgame coverage here on NESN.
To center field, Jackie Bradley Jr. coming in. He'll make the catch, and we will see him as part of the bottom of the 4th inning coming up. Herrera, Bradley, and Holt. community strong. That's why they've been named the #1 SBA lender in Massachusetts 5 years in a row. Eastern Bank, here your first. It's on to the last half of the 4th inning. 5-3. Red Sox have the lead. 8-9-1 for Boston. As Herrera takes strike one from Kyle Crockett. Herrera grounded out to shortstop in the 2nd inning. More action in the bullpen. Scott Atchison is up for Boston. Or for Cleveland. There was a time when he was up for Boston.
Quite a while.
Yes. Up the middle, ranging is Kipnis against the grain. Not much of a throw. And reaching without a problem is Herrera at first base. Infield hit.
Now Herrera has that kind of speed where if you make an infield move, 4 or 5 steps like he did Kipnis, they're not going to get him. No chance at all, really, at first base, as he has to go up the middle, spin, and try to make a throw with a wet baseball. And you see the end result of that. Not even close at first base.
Jackie Bradley Jr. tripled to drive in a run in the 2nd inning. 1 of 5 Boston hits. Strike to Bradley Jr. This would drive in A.J. Pierzynski with a triple. All the way back to the wall. Murphy almost got it. Up against the wall, and A.J. can just watch it as he scores. And to third base with the triple went Bradley Jr. On the ground and picked on the backhand by Santana to second for 1. Back to first, and it's not in time. Bradley Jr. able to beat it out. They do get the lead runner in Herrera. A nice pick by Santana on the backhand, the first baseman for the Indians.
Yeah, that play was actually much closer at first base than I anticipated. Santana diving to his right. Gets up very quickly, and a very quick release right there at second base by Cabrera trying to turn it over. Jackie Bradley Jr. hustling all the way down the line, beats it out. As that helmet barely stays on his head. Looking bouncing around going down that first base line. Not aerodynamic.
1 out, 1 on. Brock Holt, the batter. Holt is 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice, once to first and once to second base. Strike called. Ryan Butterfield reeling off the sides for all involved. Bradley Jr. at first. Brock Holt standing outside the box.
Slide step that time by Crockett. Very difficult to get a jump at first base on that kind of delivery to home plate. Basically no leg kick at all, just dragging that foot across the mound.
To left field, Michael Brantley back a few steps to make the catch for the second out. As Bradley Jr. back to the bag at first, 2 down. Hey, Red Sox Nation, get a free medium beverage when you enroll in Dunkin' Donuts Rewards program, DD Perks. Then just pay with your registered DD card or the DD mobile app to earn points towards more free beverages. It's Dunkin's way of rewarding their loyal fans. Enroll today at ddperks.com. The Red Sox run on Dunkin'. Kyle Crockett, the successful outing as he departs. Terry Francona out to make another pitching change. Red Sox have a 5-3 lead. Atchison coming in. Cleveland Indians with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. New pitcher Scott Atchison, his 29th appearance. 3-0, the 3.10 earned run average. 21 strikeouts, only 4 walks. Generally throws a lot of strikes, and opponent's inning is just 209 against the veteran right-hander. Deals with strike 1 to Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts is grounded out to second and walked in the game. Jackie Bradley Jr. held on at first by Carlos Santana.
Russ Atchison in his Red Sox days. Fastball, cut fastball, breaking ball, occasional changeup.
Popped up. Foul ground. Back comes Gomes, but he will not have a play. Well, the veteran lefty Mark Sepchinski warming in the pen. Starter tonight for the Indians, last just 3+ innings. Justin Masterson departing, giving up 5 runs. Now Crockett went an inning and 2/3. He was responsible for Bradley Jr.'s at first base. Cleveland trying to patch together the rest of this game from their pen. In the air, back at first, as coming from second is KIPNIS. He'll make the catch. A swirling wind made it tough, but he makes the grab in fair ground to end the inning. Look at some of your videos. We come back to Fenway. 5-3 Boston. Indians.
I wonder if you have to pay for a ticket for the dog.
I don't think so, because he's kind of sitting on his lap, I think. So
yeah.
He didn't really take up the ticket. There's a bunt bid. And charging and making the play in time is Bogaerts. Nice play by Xander. He's really gotten pretty good at those bunt bids and coming down the line and throwing on the run.
Yeah, anticipates very well. You know, you're going to see BOURN right here square around. As soon as he sees that turn, he's on the move immediately. And I like the way he gets himself under control before he makes the scoop and throw to first base. Good idea by BOURN on the wet surface trying to bunt, but Xander Bogaerts was up to the task.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit.
Yeah,
I know it's probably unfair at this stage of his career, but from what you see from a natural instincts, Is he more comfortable at third base than what you saw from short? And I know he's so young, it's hard to place him anywhere right now. But
it's a very brief sample, a very small, tiny sample. But we talked about this on the last road trip, and I think his instincts at third base right now are better than they are at shortstop. That's just my opinion.
To right field, Nava over a few steps. 2 down. Asdrubal Cabrera is the second out of the 5th inning.
You know, it's hard to make judgment on how little we've seen of Xander Bogaerts. Now, we saw him in pressure situations last year, play third base. In postseason play, he was excellent, I thought.
World Series.
And we saw him earlier this year at shortstop. I think he improved as time went on. But he just, to me, looks more comfortable down at that third base position. And, he may grow into it a little bit more, too. This kid's only 21 years old. He's going to get bigger, stronger.
Now 2 outs in the inning. Brantley 2 for 2. He's been on fire. Single in the first, a double, and an RBI in the third.
You can never put me on the spot, Don. You can't.
Because there's nothing I could ask you that would put you on the spot.
Not because all I would say is I don't know. Hey, man, believe me, there's a lot I don't know.
That's a strike. 2-1. Lackey settling in here to this outing. He's now retired the last 8 batters in a row. Giving up 2 in the second, 1 in the third, but stringing some outs together now. Fouled off. 2-2. Well, the Cardiovascular Institute at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center invites you to join the club. The Walking Club gives free tools and tips to get you and your family walking towards better health. More at bidmc.org/walking. 2 outs in the 5th inning. Michael Brantley. It's a hot shot to third. Bogaerts knocks it down. His throw will be not in time. Well, the error was Napoli.
We just get done talking about the play of Xander Bogaerts at third base. This ball hit very hard. We'll see how they rule it. But it looked like a bad hopped him. We'll see. Came right up about belt high on him.
Look at the bare hand.
I don't know.
Initially,
tough to tell.
They kicked off the glove and deflected off the bare hand. Charge him with an error.
Had him positioned perfectly. The ball did not touch the grass. It was just right off the dirt and right up on the belt buckle, heel of the glove. And a throw not in time pulls Napoli off that first base bag. It does go as an error on Bogaerts, his 8th of the season.
So 2 down. Brantley at first base. And Jason Kipnis now gets a chance.
One of the guys responsible for working tirelessly with Bogaerts has been Brian Butterfield. This is going on since he came up to the big leagues last year. We saw it all spring training at the shortstop position. We see it again at the third base position. Butterfield does an excellent job with the infielders. Attention to detail.
Popped up, foul ground. Bogaerts ranging over. He'll have a play, and he makes it. It ends the inning, and we are halfway through. 5-3. Red Sox have the lead. Red Sox have the lead over the Cleveland Indians as the Sox come to bat. And it'll be Pedroia, Ortiz, and Napoli coming up. Pedroia takes strike one. He's grounded back to the mound, walked in, scored. On the ground, left side, picked on the hop by Chisenhall. Plants and makes a good throw to get Pedroia for the first out of the 5th inning. Let's check out a fan video. Corrine M. from Medford, Mass.
He's not going?
See him get his brother into the act as well.
Yeah, his brother did get into the act, and he looked like one of those wrestlers. Get into his wrestling mode.
Well, if you want to get your video on the broadcast, text keyword on TV to 536-536 and get the link nesson.com/ontv to get started. David Ortiz walked and flied out to left field. We'll skip in for ball 2. Atchison getting the final out of the 4th, has the first out of the 5th. Indians into this bullpen early in the game. Ortiz fouls it off to the left. 2-2. Well, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live presented by DCU Digital Federal Credit Union tomorrow at 3:30. TC and Tim Wakefield will have a preview of Jake Peavy's start and the latest from the Red Sox clubhouse. DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? It's a different start time tomorrow, 4 o'clock here at Fenway.
That's a tough one, you know, as an announcer, because you really don't know when to eat. I mean, you eat when you get here, you know, and then what do you do after? Because it could be 8 o'clock before you get home.
Oh, I think you eat after.
You have a meal,
yeah,
a full meal?
Well, yeah.
I mean, I ate something.
Ortiz walks for the 2nd time tonight. Yeah, I think you go ahead and have a full meal.
Do you really?
I think as long as it's a normal game, let's say it's 3 to 3.5 hours, we'll be home by 8:30. I could have a meal at 8:30 and be okay.
Yes, I can't do that.
Well, that's part of the problem is you eat at like 5:30 on a regular basis, so that's like 3 hours after you normally eat.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a sleep, so I'd probably go with a sub or something like that tomorrow after the game.
Oh, well, that's eating.
Yeah,
that would count.
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta have something to eat. Yeah, but
I'm not talking a 5-course meal here.
No.
But I'm not going to starve myself either.
Oh, we know that. We know that.
One out, one on, and Napoli walked and doubled, driven in 2 runs. Double his last time up in the 3rd inning with the game tied 3-3. This double would score Bogaerts and Pedroia and give the Red Sox a 2-run advantage. Down to that right field corner. RBI is 25 and 26 on the year for Mike Napoli. One-two back to the mound. Atchison to second for 1, on to first for 2. Double play ends the 5th inning. It's 5-3 Red Sox. Some pop-up facts coming up next. fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to hashtag Nesson fan photo for a chance to be shown in our broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Tonight's fan photo is from Paul, who says he enjoyed an early Father's Day with his daughter at her first Red Sox game. Now it's on to the 6th inning. Lonnie Chisenhall leads it off here for the Indians. John Lackey back on the mound. There is strike one to Chisenhall. Grounded out to second, struck out swinging, 0 for 2.
That's
3-1.
That's a game tonight for Lackey that's not coming as easy as the last couple did for him, but he's working hard to get through it.
Winning 2 of his last 3 decisions. Ready with a 3-1 pitch. Ground ball, and Pedroia diving on the outfield grass, throws him out. Dustin Pedroia with another spectacular play at second base.
You know, we say it once, twice a game. I mean, it just happens all the time. Back on the outfield grass where he can really slide because it's wet. Gets up and throws him out of first base. I mean, that's showing some range right there, and back quickly to the feet. The strong throw to first base to get the out. Yeah, and then let him have it. Yeah, that's not a base hit. Not while I'm here. Oh, you love that attitude, don't you?
One down here in the inning. David Murphy now the batter. Oh, it bounces off of Pierzynski.
The second basemen get the opportunity to make those plays more than any of the other infielders because they're close to first base to be able to dive. And that's a great feeling to be able to dive and take a base hit away from somebody. You just saw Pedroia after the play yelling and screaming because he was able to get an out on that. You know, other guys dive, shortstops dive, and they've got the long throw to make. It's hard to really make a play at first base. I don't know what he's saying, but whatever it is, just get out of here or something like that. You're out.
90th pitch for Lackey. And a liner to left. Holt is back, and he makes the catch all the way back to the warning track for the second out. Murphy made good contact, but Holt makes the grab, 2 down.
Now, Lackey probably saying, it's amazing. I've got David Murphy out twice. Hits the ball hard, well, slicing away. Very nice play by Brock Holt in left field.
Two down here in the 6th inning. Yan Gomes, 0 for 2. He is struck out and grounded out.
Just that last pop-up fact.
Something about 4 balks.
Yeah, John Dobson, 25 years ago today. 4 balks in a game.
Wow.
Now, there was one year, that might be the year that they were really breaking down on balks.
They enforced it that year. I remember that.
It was ridiculous.
89, 90, somewhere in there.
There are guys at third base, they call him balk after balk, and it was a joke.
Yeah, 25 years, that would be 89, 90.
So it was, it was when that was awful.
Outside for ball 4, and that is the first walk of the outing
for John Lackey, and it comes with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Walking Yan Gomes. He's going to face a guy that hit a 2-run home run off him in the 2nd inning, coming up as a potential tying run here in the 6th inning. Strike 1 over the outside corner, according to home plate umpire Tom Hallion anyway. Gomes gains a short lead at first base, the Indians catcher. Move the center fielder Bradley Jr. over towards right center for Santana to pull. And well off the line and left is Brock Holt. Two and one. Indians have had a tough time on the road this season. They are 12-23 away from Progressive Field. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in a true HD on over 400 devices. Visit RedSox.com for details. 2 down here in the top half of the 6th inning. Yan Gomes at first base, and a 2-2 pitch coming to Santana. Fly ball to right to Nava. It ends the top of the 6th inning. The Red Sox have a 2-run lead. We'll see E.J. Pierzynski as part of the trio coming up. Mid-season acquisition you can't pass up. During June only, get a Dymo LM160 label maker for just $9.99 and keep your life organized for under $10. Visit WBMason.com and order yours now while supplies last. 5-3, the Red Sox enjoy the lead as We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. No pitcher into the game. Mark Sepchinski, his 35th appearance, 0-2, 3.18 earned run average, 22 strikeouts, 12 walks, and opponents hitting at .235 against Sepchinski. It'll be Nava, Pierzynski, and Herrera to come to bat here against the 3rd reliever of the night for the Cleveland Indians. Nava with a single in the 2nd, grounded out to short in the 3rd. And he takes the ball down low. Nava moving to the right side against the left-hander. Nava hitting at .074 against lefties. Had a tough time against lefties this year, and batting from the right side. Up and away, 3-0. And there for a strike, 3-1. Starter tonight for the Indians, Justin Masterson, lasting just 3+ innings, giving up the 5 runs that the Red Sox currently have as they bat here in the 6th inning. Nava to right center field. On the run is Murphy, and he'll get there. Send it down to Gary Streisky.
Hey guys, how we doing? Fortunately for us, the rain held off here at Fenway Park for us to be able to get this game in. The same can't be said for our friends down in Pawtucket, the Paw Sox. We're set to square off tonight, and all the fans packing McCoy Stadium in hopes to see Clay Buchholz make his first rehab stint after hyperextending that left knee. That game canceled, so they plan on having a doubleheader tomorrow starting just a little bit after 5. Clay's still scheduled to throw about 5 innings in Game 1, as will Will Middlebrooks. He'll DH in Game 1. John Farrell saying earlier today that the plan was to have Middlebrooks play defense in the 2nd game, so hopefully we'll see him out there. And also Shane Victorino expected to make his first rehab stint. So a trio of Red Sox going to be busy down at Pawtucket tomorrow.
All right, Gary, thanks very much.
And Don's favorite doubleheaders at the minor league level, 7 innings long.
7 innings long. Things happen fast. You start thinking about your closer in the 5th inning.
Yeah.
That's exciting baseball. AJ with a swing and a miss, 2-1. And Brzezinski doubled, scored in the 2nd inning, grounded out to short in the 3rd. This double in the 2nd provided 2 runs for the Red Sox. RBIs 28-29. Jonathan Herrera on deck with 1 out in the 6th inning. Fly ball, center field. In comes BOURN, still coming, and he'll get there. Going to reach across his body to make that catch on the run. It's time for a Toyota game break. And Tom Karen, TC. We certainly do, Tom. It seems like every time we're in Baltimore, we're going to see the tarp at least one time. And there's a chance every day for it to rain while we were there.
It's amazing. It's always been that way.
Jonathan Herrera batting with 2 outs in the inning.
We saw plenty of that top in this last 3 days when we were in Baltimore.
Sox culture for Jonathan Herrera. Any action movie. Reggaeton. Pork chops and a relaxing beach. I'm with him on the relaxing beach thing.
Yeah, reggaeton. Reggae music, basically, right?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, and I like that. I do.
So what is the difference between reggae music and reggaeton?
That I don't have an answer for. I don't know. But like when you go, all right, Gary knows what it is. Gary, what is it?
Guys, I'm pretty sure reggaeton is like hip-hop salsa, something you can
that's what I
can
like.
groove to. I don't know if that's the definition you'll find in the dictionary, but it's pretty close.
Okay, well, it's better than what we had.
Well, you know, it reminds me like when you go on vacation to the islands. You know, that kind of music. I like that kind of music.
Swing and a miss. Herrera down on strikes, and that is the end of the 6th inning. 5-3 Red Sox. Seventh inning, 5-3. Red Sox have the lead. As a number 9 man for the Indians coming up, Ryan Rayburn. Lackey at 101, about to hit his average, with a tall lefty up in the pen behind him in Andrew Miller. As the 7th inning starts, and it's a ball outside, 1-1. Rayburn, Bourne, and Cabrera here in the 7th inning. Swing and a miss. Ball and 2 strikes. Ryan Rayburn with a single in the 2nd, fly to center in the 4th inning. Lackey started a little rough in the 2nd inning, gave up 2 runs, and then a run in the 3rd inning on back-to-back doubles. But since then, he's pitched very well. Really settled in. This is to right field. Nava coming in, and he'll make the first catch for the 7th inning. Well, help NESN by taking a quick 2-minute survey and enter for a chance to win a VIP NESN experience at the ballpark in July. Visit NESN.com/survey during tonight's game for your chance to win. One out in the 7th inning. Michael Bourne, the batter, 0 for 3. Struck out in the first, struck out in the second, grounded out to third base in the fifth. On the ground right side, Pedroia plays the hop, throws out BOURN, 2 down. But tune in tonight after the game for NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Sarah and Leah will have more on the Brad Marchand trade rumors, and they'll talk the final Celtics pre-draft workout, see what know-how can do. Two outs here in the 7th inning as CABRERA coming up. Saw Juan Nieves on the phone to the pen. Andrew Miller has been warming. Mike able to get the first 2 outs here the 7th. CABRERA takes strike 1. Now Lackey's been getting that call off the plate, it appears, as Ace Ticket brings us the pitching line. 6 2/3, 3 runs.
You know, it seems like in the last few starts, too, he's been getting that consistently.
Line down the left field line. This will get in and head towards the corner. Brock Holt over to play it. CABRERA heading for second base. He will get there. A little bobble out there for Holt, but it would have been a double anyway with 2 outs here in the 7th inning.
Second double of the night for ASDRUBAL CABRERA.
Here comes John Farrell. You got Michael Brantley, who has been red hot, coming up, and he will make the change. That is a night for Lackey with 2 outs here in the 7th inning. The pitching change from Fenway. Red Sox have a 5-3 lead. Wide selection of Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup packs would keep you running and guarantees to satisfy any fan base. Order by 11:30 a.m. and get free same-day delivery. Who but W.B. Mason? Now the game summary brought to you by Xfinity. Masterson chased after just 3+ innings in this game. As actually take that back, 2+ innings in this game for Masterson as he left in the 3rd. Santana 1 for 3 with a 2-run home run for the Indians. And the Red Sox tonight getting RBIs, 2 for Napoli, 2 for Pierzynski, and 1 for Bradley Jr. Andrew Miller into his 31st game of the year, 2-4 with a 2.77 earned run average. And a 206 opponent batting average against Andrew Miller. More action in the Red Sox pen. Burke Badenhop, right-hander up.
Imagine Badenhop up for this inning. You talk about the 8th and 9th. You're talking about Tazawa and Uehara. If things remain the same.
Pop foul behind the Indians dugout.
It's the second one that's going in that direction, isn't it?
Been a few over there, I think, tonight.
Same girl. That's got 2 of them. I mean, what are the odds of that?
Bradley representing the tying run here for the Indians. With Cabrera at second base, 2 down. And Brantley grounds on 2 hops to first base. Napoli will take it to the bag. And Miller gets out of the jam here in the 7th inning. 7th inning stretch, 5-3 Red Sox. Thursday edition of NESN Clubhouse. Learn what the real difference is between aluminum and wooden bats. The Fenway parking attendant takes you inside players' cars. Plus Gary and David Ortiz's son D'Angelo face off in round 3 of Batter Up. Don't miss NESN Clubhouse live and commercial free Sunday at noon. 3-3 the score as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Jackie Bradley Jr. leading it off here for the Red Sox. Tripled in the second, reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th inning. And triple back in the second produced his 22nd RBI of the year. More action for the Indians in the pen. Right-hander Brian Shaw. Zawa getting ready for the 8th inning. Kipnis, Chisenhall, Murphy expected for the Indians. Up the middle into center field. A base hit for Jackie Bradley Jr. Well, don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Men's Warehouse, proudly introducing Joseph Abboud. TC and Wake will have a special Flag Day segment. It's tomorrow at 3 p.m. on NESN.
Well, nice night for Jackie Bradley Jr. The triple to drive in a run back in the second inning. Now a base hit up the middle off a hard-throwing left-hander. Then the Red Sox play this 2-run lead. Will they try to get Bradley to second base via the bunt? No indication there that Holt was going to square away. That's one of the reasons for the throw to first base, just to see if they'll give anything away.
There's one sacrifice bunt on the year. Not squaring as he takes a strike instead. 0-1. Now we've seen the Red Sox put it on after taking a strike. We saw that in Detroit. Xander Bogaerts was asked to bunt after there was a strike, and I know that's something that you're uncomfortable with, having been a bunter.
Yeah, I figured if they wanted me to bunt, you know, to get a man to second base, give me at least 2 chances to do that, 2 strikes.
Still not putting it on, and Holt fouls it off. 0-2.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons you didn't see it in this situation here is because Holt has really handled left-handers fairly well. And that's one thing Farrell, I think, takes into consideration with Holt at the plate.
Mark Zepchinski came into the game in the 6th inning at a 1-2-3 inning. Back out there for the 7th. On the ground up the middle and under the glove of Cabrera into center field. Bradley Jr. heading for third. He'll get there without a problem. First and third, nobody out in the Boston 7th inning.
Now that's what we're talking about, Don. You know, it doesn't seem to matter to him. Right-hander, left-hander. He's going to put up a good tough at bat. He fell behind early. He gets a breaking ball and he bounces it right back by the glove of the pitcher into center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. hustling around at third base, and out comes Terry Francona.
He will make another change here. We will see a 4th reliever coming up. And trying to add on to it as they have runners at first and third, and a new pitcher on for the Tribe, Brian Shaw. His 33rd appearance, 2-1, the 2.01 earned run average. Opponents hitting at 217 against him. 27 Ks, only 5 walks for Shaw. Xander Bogaerts the batter. And he takes strike one. Bogaerts has grounded out, walked, and popped out. Shaw's not given up a run in 27 of 32 outings on the year. There's strike two. .92 miles an hour. He's got a little bit of a cut to it as well. Bogaerts to left field. Brantley coming in. Will make the catch for the first out of the inning and gun it into the infield, but Bradley Jr. remaining at third base, not deep enough to try it. One down. Red Sox baseball in NESN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And Shaw, runners at first and third, has retired the only batter that he has faced coming in here in the 7th, and now Dustin Pedroia coming up. Pedroia's grounded out, walked, and grounded out again. Well, Pedroia has no hits in this game, but defensively has certainly helped out a great deal.
Yeah, he's played unbelievable defense. A line drive catch there going to his right, and now he goes to his left, diving on the outfield grass to make a play at first base. Now he'd like to deliver with a base hit to drive in a run.
Fly ball hit well towards deep left center field. Back goes Brantley, but that is going to be off the base of the wall. From third, Bradley Jr. scores. Brock Holt trying to score all the way from first. It's cut off. He will. 2 runs in, and the Red Sox lead it 7-3. Dustin Pedroia drives in 2.
Well, he's done it all in this game tonight. Defense, now offense. Huge double for Pedroia here to drive in 2 runs and open this game up a little bit for the Red Sox. You know, he's been hitting some balls well recently. They just have not been falling in. That time he finds the left field wall. Brock Holt coming across with the second run. Red Sox take a 7-3 lead.
Now with first base open, they will not pitch to David Ortiz this time. Take their chances with Napoli waiting on deck. More action for Cleveland. The left-hander Josh Outman up in the pen. Already seen Crockett, Atchison, Sepchinski, and now Shaw, who completes the free pass here intentionally to Ortiz. Well, stay tuned tonight following WB Mason's Extra Innings live for Red Sox Final presented by Esurance. Send your questions to TC at #SoxFinal, and maybe yours will be answered on Red Sox Final presented by Esurance. Two on, 1 away, 2 runs in. Mike Napoli, the batter. He has walked at a 2-run double and bounced into a 1-6-3 double play last time up. Strike 1. to right. Murphy won't get there. Goes off him and behind him. Pedroia is being waved around. Throw is going to be cut off, and the Red Sox take an 8-3 lead. Napoli drives it in. Kind of short hop Murphy out there in right, and Pedroia scores without a problem.
Well, that's twice tonight now that Napoli is going very hard to the opposite field. One time for a double, a drive in, 2 runs. This time for a single, a drive in, a run. Look at the slice on that ball as David Murphy comes in and try to short hop it. It bounces by him, and Pedroia can score without a problem.
That's a single and an RBI, and that'll do it for Shaw as Terry Francona's back out there again to make another change in this inning. Shaw departs, as will we, stepping aside with the pitching change. Red Sox now on top by 5. Inning with the Indians up 2-0. A.J. Brzezinski able to drive in a pair of runs with his double to the triangle in the second. Red Sox with the game tied 3-3. As Jackie Bradley Jr. at this point actually puts the Red Sox on top 3-2. The Indians would then tie 3-3 before Napoli, with his double to right field, scores Bogaerts and Pedroia to give the Red Sox at the time a 5-3 lead. They now lead at 8-3. With runners at first and second. Nava the batter, and he'll take a pitch down and in. Josh Outman, the new pitcher now for the Indians. 30th appearance, 4-0, 2.86 earned run average. 14 walks, 22 strikeouts, and opponents hitting at 229. It has been so far a 3-run bottom of the 7th inning for Boston. Foul back, 1-1.
Once again, they're spinning Daniel Nava around to hit from the right side with Brzezinski on deck. The reason they go to the left-hander Outman.
Fouled off to the right, 1-2. So Shaw, who departs, responsible for Napoli at first and Ortiz at second. Incidentally, They have changed the scoring on Napoli's ball. That is a base hit to right field, but they do not give him the RBI as they took it away, and they said that Pedroia scored on an error charged to David Murphy in right field. 1-2 pitch. Lined out of the reach. Chisenhall third down to the left field corner. Ortiz coming around to score. Mike Napoli will stop at third. It's an RBI double for Nava, and it's a 9-3 Red Sox lead as they open it up.
Now the breaking ball, the curveball of Daniel Nava, hitting from the side of the plate that he's had most difficulty in, but right down that left field line all the way to the corner. Big Poppy coming around to score. And staying at third base, Mike Napoli. There's that hard shot by Chisenhall at third base. Infield coming in now for the Indians with 2 men in scoring position, still only 1 out.
In there for strike 1. Brzezinski a double in the second, driving those 2 runs we just saw. He's grounded out, flied out. Oh, 0-2. So 2 runs so far charged to Shaw. He's still responsible for the runner at third in Napoli. Walk to batter was intentionally David Ortiz. Did not strike anybody out in his third of an inning. Jonathan Herrera on deck. Red Sox have sent 7 men to bat so far and lead it 9-3. Blowing away, 2-2. Outman becomes the 6th pitcher of the night used by the Cleveland Indians.
And what Fred Kona's trying to do is stretch them all out and getting as much as possible out of each guy and trying to match up at the same time without completely wearing out the bullpen for the remainder of the series. And for the most part tonight, it has not worked.
Alan Axford Carrasco left in the bullpen for Terry Francona. 3-2 pitch. Fouled off by Pierzynski. Don't miss WB Mason's extra innings live right after the game. We'll break down John Lackey's start, John Farrell's post-game comments. Can't go wrong when you buy right at WB Mason. 3-2 pitch. Pierzynski grounds it. It's picked by Outman. He'll fire to first to retire A.J. Pierzynski.
You know, you're talking there briefly about Lackey's performance tonight, and it really impressed me because, you know, he came out early, gave up 3 runs in the game, and you say, well, maybe not tonight. You know, maybe it's not his night. But the veteran pitchers find a way. You know, and good pitchers like Lackey just seem to find a way. And he did tonight. I mean, it didn't look like at the beginning of the game his stuff was all that great. You know, he gave up 3 quick runs. You say maybe this is going to be one of those, you know, bad ones for him. And then he just completely shuts them down the rest of the way. Yeah, very impressive.
After the double to Brantley that drove in a run, he then went on to retire the next 8 batters in a row, and since that point, that double only gave up 1 more hit the rest of his outing, which ended up being 6 2/3 tonight.
You know, a lot of young pitchers, they would have crumbled after the first couple of innings, but veteran guys that know how to pitch and have confidence in themselves, they They know how to bounce back, and John did that tonight.
He may have gone around, he did, and it is 1-2. It was called to strike anyway. 1-2. Jackie Bradley Jr. started this inning with a single to center field. To the right, now to play. Back and forth went Gomes and Outman, so now they're going to meet on the mound. Took a long time in between pitches trying to figure out what they want to throw on the last pitch. Big night for Dustin Pedroia, defensively and offensively now. He's driven in 2 runs in this inning. On the day that his 3rd son Brooks was born. Swing and a miss as Herrera chases a pitch up and away. Red Sox tack on 4, take a 9-3 lead. We'll get you the list. The best seats at the lowest prices to all the games at Fenway with a 200% guarantee. Right now, Ace Ticket has special savings on all Red Sox games. Treat yourself or someone special. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Now it is 9-3. The Red Sox on top of the Indians as Boston scores 4 times in the bottom of the 7th inning. And a 6-run lead now, so back out there for the Red Sox. Andrew Miller put the final out of the 7th inning, and Tazawa continues to warm in the pen. Swing and a miss for KIPNIS. Everything's been up so far, 2-1.
Lefties do this inning to start the inning. That's why Miller's still in the ball game.
To left, Brock Holt has it sized up and puts it away for the first out of the 8th. Well, the list tonight is the longest World Series droughts. If you have a comment about tonight's list, tweet us at #NESSONList. Cubs now 105 seasons. It's Cleveland Indians 65 seasons.
It's nice to see the Red Sox off that list.
Yes.
They were on the list for a long time.
Somewhere between the Indians and the Cubs.
Yeah, and then they got them off the list. They're off the list.
3 times off the list now since coming off the list.
Exactly.
Chisenhall. It's a fly ball to shallow left center field. It's Bradley Jr. who handles out number 2. So 2 down for David Murphy. Murphy singled back in the second inning. Since then has grounded out and lined out. 1 for 3 in the game. Fly ball center field. Back goes Jackie Bradley Jr. And for the Red Sox, that worked out pretty well. As Miller gets all 3 lefties, it is 9-3 Boston. Brought to you in part by the new Scion TC, Stowe, Vermont, the GMC Buick Verano, Sullivan Tire and Auto Repair, and by Southwest Airlines. 9-3 Red Sox on top of the Indians as we head to the last half of the 8th inning. And leading it off is Jackie Bradley Jr. He led off the 7th. The Red Sox sent 9 men to the plate and scored 4 times. Carved foul for strike 1.
We were talking last night about superstitions for players, and as you mentioned, one of your superstitions is listening to Dave Matthews driving into the ballpark every day. Did you do it today?
I did.
And what do we do going home? Same thing?
Depends. You know, it is not always the same thing going home. It depends what kind of game it was.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird. I'll do all kinds of things going home. Like sometimes I will just listen to like classical music, depending upon how long the game was. A long
classical
night, maybe.
music.
Classical music kind of gets me in the sleepy mode. I'm not going to fall asleep on the way home, but when I arrive home, I'll be closer to the time that I will be getting into the crib. You know, so
it's interesting.
Yeah, sometimes I'll listen to Talk Sports Radio on the way home. I'll do that sometimes.
Why?
To get a feel. Well, sometimes you like to hear, like I can't watch the postgame show. It's sometimes my postgame show, so I'll hear John Farrell's sound and some other stuff. On the way to second base, Kipnis throws in time for the first out of the inning, and a close play at first base. And then there's other times I just go right back to Dave Matthews.
So it's a combination of things. It really depends
going
on.
Home is different than pregame because pregame is more of a routine thing.
Right. So it's like kind of how the game has gone for you, what the game was like.
What kind of night was it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Did you win? Did you lose? Did you mess up a fly ball? Did you call a home run that really wasn't a home run? You know, it depends what you do.
That's when you turn on sports radio to see if
no. That's That's the nights you don't really want to.
You don't want to hear it.
Pass on that. So
about 5 years ago, I don't know what happened to me. I used to listen to classic rock driving in every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just shut the radio off, and I don't even listen to the radio anymore in the car.
All right. So let me get this straight. If I have this right, and I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah.
You don't turn the TV on in your hotel room.
Not as much as no. Actually, in my hotel room.
In your hotel room, you do not turn your TV on.
Unless I'm watching a special game or we have a night off and one of my favorite programs on. But when I get home after the game, no, I just sit there.
Right. So you look at the TV that is off. And now you drive with the radio off.
For about the last 5 years. Yeah. I don't know why I started to do that. I just like the peace and quiet.
Popped up and over is Chisenhall to make the catch. So you would prefer quiet to any noise whatsoever. I guess what I'm gathering from this.
Yeah, it's got to have something to do with age, I guess. You know, I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, I used to listen to music every day coming into the ballpark. And then I just I shut it off, and I just haven't put it back on. And I don't listen to anything going home either. I like the quiet of the car.
A man alone in his thoughts.
Yes, that's
9-3. Red Sox have the lead.
We have to go to break.
We got to go to break.
We're having a conversation.
No, it's over. Got to go. Pitchers, Jake Peavy, 13 starts, 1-4 with a 4.76 earned run average against TJ House, 4 starts, 0-1 with a 5.24 ERA. This closer look is brought to you by FWM. For an even closer look, visit FWM.com.
Now, as we get closer to the end of this game, Don, the way it's gone tonight, Red Sox with a 9-3 lead, getting ready to win back-to-back games at home. What are you feeling as far as?
I am feeling in a Dave Matthews mode, and I'll tell you why. Because it is a Friday night, and while we don't have kind of like Friday night off, but it's definitely tonight would be a concert. Dave Matthews night going
concert.
home.
So
yeah. So like I'm at the concert for the entire hour ride that I have. I'll be at the concert, and I'll probably choose. I think the one that right now is in my car is the one from Fenway Park. Last time Dave Matthews Band was here at Fenway Park.
Now let me ask you a question. For example, how did you get that concert? Was that available?
Yeah, it's one that they sold.
Because I've been trying to get some concerts too, and I'm having difficulty doing that.
Well, you have an iPod.
Huh?
Oh, you're trying to get concerts like from?
Yeah, like live concerts. I like live concerts.
Oh, yeah. So you're looking for illegal material that you could lift from somebody else.
I didn't want.
Oh,
no, I'm not. Okay. I'm looking at stores and I can't find them.
Oh.
So I'm supposed to be looking illegally?
No, well, you need to know a guy who might be able to help you out.
Really?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for exactly. I mean, I don't, specific shows that may not be available at the store. One pitch is outside. I don't know anything about this, but.
I still wouldn't listen to it on the way home or the ballpark.
You're still alone in your thoughts driving home.
Yeah, it's really pretty sad.
It's what you like.
Yeah.
But your ride's not as long as mine.
No,
that's the other thing. The silence would drive me.
I thought I was going to get stopped last night because I stopped at a light. There were two cars in front of me, and behind me pulls a police car. All of a sudden, the lights go on. I say, "How can he be stopping me? I'm the third car." Behind the other, and he goes right by me, stops the first car, and the second car pulls over. Now I don't know what to do. Am I supposed to pull over or just keep going? I just kept going.
Oh boy!
But it was okay.
It was fine. He was okay with the fact that you just kept going. So
yeah, because
you weren't on the run or anything.
Nobody was speeding or anything. I have no idea why. It might have been somebody might have been texting in the first car. I don't know. But it was really weird. But I thought for a second I was going to be the third car pulled over for doing nothing wrong.
Bogaerts fouls it off to the right, out of play. Red Sox playing late day baseball here tomorrow. 4:05 start time at Fenway Park tomorrow. Game 3 of the series. And the normal start time on Sunday afternoon. 1:35 at Fenway for the finale. 3-2 pitch. On the ground, foul outside of third.
I'll tell you, we're seeing some very, very good plays by the ball attendants the last couple of nights. We saw a great play last night by Jackie down the right field line. That was a very nice backhanded play there.
Bogaerts pops it up foul. That will get out of play.
And I got home in time to watch the news last night, and I thought we'd see this play on one of the great plays, but we didn't. And I was very disappointed because, I mean, look at that play. The buckets, the bucket she sits on is falling all over the place. It's in conversation right now. I thought that was.
It's a terrific play.
I mean, that would have been a highlight on some of the shows.
Bogaerts to deep left field, high, deep, and gone off the light stanchion. Xander Bogaerts with his 6th home run of the year. Here's the Red Sox, their 10th run of the night. It's 10-3 Boston. Look at the power that Xander Bogaerts has got.
Well, he had struggled. He was 0 for 16 coming into the game, 0 for 17, 18, 19, but not 20. Line shot off the light tower.
Now pitch up and in to Pedroia. Same spot, 2-0. Both fastballs at 95.
The crowd doesn't like it, but I don't think these are intentional fastballs trying to hit Pedroia. I really don't. Could be wrong, but doesn't appear that way.
Missed falling again here at Fenway Park, but fortunate it's not been more than a missed here during this game. It's kind of a chance of rain throughout the entire game. Three and one. Strike call, full count. When it started towards first base, thought it was ball 4. David Ortiz on deck. Did he go? No, as they check at first base, and Pedroia down to first with a 2-out walk that'll give David Ortiz another chance.
A good job checking the swing there by Pedroia. He knows it. Makes his way down to first base.
Well, David has walked 3 times in this game, once intentionally, and he's also flied out to left. This will get away, and Pedroia will head for second base.
Big Papi right now with a couple of walks, 3 walks actually in this game, and counting 1 intentional walk. If he hits a home run, he'll probably listen to 2 chains on the way home. Pop culture.
You learn so much from the pop culture that we have.
Really do.
And their first strike, 1-1. 10 runs for the Red Sox is a season high. Breaking ball, looked like a pretty good pitch. David backs out. Fly ball, foul ground. Chisenhall going as far as he can, but he won't have a play. Boy at second base, 2 down, a run in on the home run by Xander Bogaerts. Red Sox upping their lead to 10-3. Ortiz fouling it straight back. As we review the Scion poll, 72% felt that Jackie Bradley Jr.'s
Can't
play.
go along with that. I can't. I just, I'm sorry. I mean, it was a great play.
Yeah.
But I can't go along with it.
And of the 2 plays that Cespedes made, I would have gone with the first one, the throwing out of Howie Kendrick at home plate. Two. Swing and a miss, elevated, and Ortiz chases to strike out. Xander Bogaerts gets his 6th home run of the year. The Red Sox lead at 10-3.
Way 10-3 Red Sox lead. John Lockie getting the start tonight for the Red Sox. We'll take a look at 3 of his strikeouts in the game tonight. Breaking ball, fastball there. Michael BOURN on the fastball. As I mentioned a couple of innings ago, very strong comeback for Lockie after a little bit of a shaky start in this ball game, but come back very strong for him tonight.
Make Insurance, great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance. 10-3. Red Sox have the lead. New pitcher for the Red Sox, Burke Badenhop. His 30th appearance of the year, 0-2 with a 1.77 earned run average. 17 strikeouts, 10 walks. And a first pitch ball to Yan Gomes. Actually, it's George Kataris who had taken over for Yan Gomes defensively. Former Red Sox catcher. Kataris 4 for 8 so far as he'll take the strike. Gomes had been 0 for 2 with a walk. As Kataris takes ball 2. Red Sox have more action. Craig Breslow now up in the pen. Badenhop last worked on Monday at Baltimore. He had a 1-2-3 8th inning in that game against the O's. It was a quick inning for him. He's able to get Adam Jones, Chris Davis, and Nelson Cruz. Kataris strikes out for the first out of the 9th inning.
That changeup that time by Badenhop to pick up the strikeout. We think of him as a sinker ball pitcher, but every once in a while we'll mix in that changeup and That time he does so to pick up a strikeout.
This is pretty good. 27 2/3 consecutive innings without allowing an earned run. Santana had a 2-run home run back in the second inning. Since then, he's lined out to right, flied out to right. Fly ball foul off to the left, out of play.
Remember, folks, 4 o'clock baseball tomorrow here on Nesson. 3 o'clock pregame show.
Strike called, and throwing it around is Brzezinski. That is only strike 2, though, I believe. AJ, what are we doing? So it's 2-2.
Somebody's going to remind AJ it's a 3-strike league. And he's been around a long time. There it is, strike 2, throw it around.
And Santana fouls it off, 2-2. Saw Brian Butterfield. He was moving Bogaerts over at third base. And XANDER is about at the shortstop spot, but equidistant between second and third now. 2-2. Fouled back, still 2-2. On the ground, foul into the seats. John Lackey tonight, 6 2/3 in the game. Allowed 3 runs in his outing. Walked a batter, struck out 5. In line for his 8th win of the year. 7-4 coming into tonight's game individually. 2-2 pitch. Santana strikes out. Back-to-back Ks for Badenhop, 2 down.
Yeah, back-to-back strikeouts on changeups for Badenhop. Gets Kataris on a changeup. Now the left-handed Santana on a changeup. Not known as a strikeout pitcher, but 2 in this inning.
2 down now for Ryan Rayburn. 1 for 3 in the game, a single in the second, flied out in the 4th, flied out in the 7th. Ball and a strike. Popped up foul, and it's 1-2 as Badenhop jumps ahead. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 down. The 1-2 pitch. Hey, struck him out. The Red Sox win. Burt Badenhop strikes out the side in the ninth. As the Red Sox are able to take game 2 of this series, they pull away and win it 10-3 behind very good starting pitching for John Lackey, who settled down after giving up 3 early runs. The Red Sox come away with the victory as they win 10-3 from some pretty good offense tonight as well turned in. So Boston takes the first 2 games of this 4-game series, and we send it to Tom Caron.